You gotta learn to lighten up, honey. There's not a homicidal maniac lurking in every shadow.
Pink is a popular American singer, songwriter, dancer, and actress whose songs are almost all hits. A rebel and a hooligan who turned into an ideal wife and mother, she is confidently located in the top of the highest paid singers rating. We have prepared a video to get a closer look at this phenomenal woman.
Hi, Dee Dee.
Pink, how the extraordinary pop diva lives and how she spends her millions. The future star was born on September 8, 1979 in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Alicia Beth Moore, the name given to her at birth by her parents, came from a family of nurse Judith and insurance agent, a veteran of the Vietnam War, Jim Moore. Like many Americans, the girl blended a lot of different blood in her veins. There are Jewish-Lithuanian roots on her mother's side and Irish-German genes on her father's. Alicia was born and raised as a very normal and healthy child, but over time the baby developed asthma. It was because of her disease that she began to develop her lungs and voice. Perhaps the disease was triggered by a tense situation in the family as the girl's parents divorced before she was 10 years old. Together with her younger brother Jason, she witnessed confrontations about which she later wrote one of her most touching songs, Family Portrait.
In a family portrait, we look pretty happy.
This track has come to be called by many an anthem for children who have experienced the aftermath of a difficult parental separation. It, along with the music video, encourages not to gloss over their experiences. By the way, Pink's parents confessed in interviews that it was very hard for them to listen to the candid musical composition, but they are proud of their daughter. After the divorce, Alicia continued to warmly communicate with her father, but she had a strained relationship with her mother in her teenage years. In high school, Moore joined all activities that involved music, and she also wrote poetry. She worked part-time at McDonald's, but she was soon fired for enjoying eating burgers instead of selling them. In her youth, our hero was into gymnastics, skateboarding, and hip-hop. As a teenager, she joined the musical group Middle Ground, which, however, soon enough ceased its existence, and Alicia herself began to perform solo in clubs in Philadelphia. That's when, at the age of 14, she got a bright stage name which is now known to people around the world. The fact is that as a child, the girl was very shy and blushed a lot at any excitement, for which she was nicknamed Pink. There is an alternative version which the singer tells. According to it, she got her stage name thanks to the character Steve Buscemi from the legendary Quentin Tarantino movie Reservoir Dogs. The latter theory is supported by the fact that Alicia was daring and reckless. She smoked, drank, and indulged in illegal substances so much so that she almost took an overdose when she was 15. From childhood, Alicia dreamed of becoming a singer, and her idols were Janis Joplin and Madonna. At one time, she even convinced those around her that she was in fact Madonna's native daughter, and she got into her own family by mistake. Not surprisingly, at the age of 16, the young singer, along with two friends, organized a girl group choice. This choice turned out to be very successful because the girls were noticed by the label LaFace Records, and their first songs, Key to My Heart, simply captivated the producer. He flew all the way from Atlanta to see the band play and immediately signed a contract with them. The girls moved to Georgia, but they didn't have much success. Their biggest accomplishment was when their song was included on the soundtrack of the 1996 movie Kazam. 2 years later, the band broke up, which was preceded by an ultimatum from the producers to Pink. Either she continued working with them solo, or she was free to go home. This time, the choice was not in favor of the common cause, and Pink began to work on her first album. In 2000, the single There You Go was released and immediately burst into the music charts not only in America, but also in Great Britain, Australia, and New Zealand.
There you go, looking pitiful, just because I let you go.
The track was included in the singer's debut album, which was called Can't Take Me Home. The record went double platinum in the US and sold 4 million copies worldwide. A year later, Pink, together with such stars as Christina Aguilera, Maya, and Lil' Kim, performed a cover version of the song Lady Marmalade, which became the soundtrack to the movie Moulin Rouge. A very colorful video was shot for this song, which won a permanent place in TV music channels and MTV's Video of the Year award. For this work, Pink also received her first Grammy Award for Best Pop Vocal Collaboration. However, the artist did not even think of resting on her laurels, but immediately signed a contract with the Arista Records label and started recording her next album, Misunderstood. It was released in the year 2001. The title of the album, Misunderstood, is very symbolic. It means that people cannot see her true self behind the public image of the singer. This time, she wanted to have a totally different sound. In addition, she was afraid to hang in the R&B genre. That's why the tracks were diverse with addition of lyrics and rock. The album included the dramatic family portrait and the legendary compositions Just Like a Pill and Get the Party Started. In the same period, Pink met the professional motorcycle racer Carey Hart, with whom the singer started a stormy romance. He starred in her music video for the song Just Like a Pill. The enamored man proposed to her several times, but always got a rejection. That's why his surprise was boundless when in 2005, during a race in California, she stood at the track with a banner that read, "Will you marry me? Seriously." Carey was so stunned that he stopped and approached his beloved. However, she asked him to keep racing because she didn't want her husband to be a loser. The wedding took place in early 2006 in Costa Rica. Since then, she's been wearing a weighty diamond engagement ring that she's a little embarrassed of and calls it a chandelier. It is often turned with the stone facing inward. However, let's go back to 2001, when Pink was riding the wave of her popularity with a grand concert tour of the USA, Australia, and countries of Europe. She also took part in some Lenny Kravitz concerts. Right after finishing the tour, Pink started working on her third album, Try This, which had several peculiarities at once. First, this is the singer's first album to be labeled with explicit lyrics, and second, it was more modestly sold than her previous releases. Pink herself wasn't surprised. The record company insisted on the release of the new material because they thought that after the huge success of Misunderstood, there had to be no big break. After a number of arguments with the producers, the singer finally agreed to record 10 songs, but she didn't put her heart and soul into them, which meant that the quality was not satisfactory. The tracks lacked magic, and it was considered too simple for the audience, and the sales in the US stopped at the point of 1 million copies. Nevertheless, the single Trouble won a Grammy for Best Female Vocal Rock Performance. The track Feel Good Time became the soundtrack for the movie Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, in which Pink herself played a small part.
Good luck.
You in charge here?
You know it.
I want in.
It's a 2G buy-in. Winner takes all. Rules are, there are no rules.
By the way, this is not the only role in her career. In total, she starred in 8 films and voiced one of the penguins in the animated film Happy Feet 2. Notably, after recording her third album, Pink broke her contract with Arista Records and returned to her former label, LaFace. Her fourth album, I'm Not Dead, turned out to be a kind of emotional manifesto, a call to be alive and determined. The style of the songs was quite varied, as were the themes. They ranged from deeply personal feelings to problems of society and politics. This time, the album was warmly received by the public and music critics alike. It is interesting that one of the songs, I Have Seen the Rain, was written by the singer's father and was inspired by his wartime experience in Vietnam. They sang this song together on stage, and the tracks Leave Me Alone and Stupid Girls became the favorites of music fans. After the release, Pink once again embarked on a major concert tour of the continents. She also collaborated with other artists, opening for Justin Timberlake and recording a joint song with Annie Lennox, before starting work on another album. Funhouse was released in the fall of 2008 and immediately won the hearts of listeners. Almost all of the recorded songs are very personal. The singles Sober and Please Don't Leave Me became instant hits, and the defiant So What is still considered Pink's most successful creation. It is the first solo track in the singer's career to reach the top of the prestigious Billboard Hot 100. It also became the most downloaded song on iTunes in Australia within the first 8 minutes of its release. The singer's husband starred in the music video for this song. It is interesting because the emotional breakdown and unconcealed vulnerability in the songs were not a simple creative invention. In February 2008, it became known that the relationship between the singer and Carey Hart had broken up. Judging by the songs, it was the lover of the star who initiated the breakup, and she suffered from it terribly. Initially, even the title of the album was very unambiguous and intended as Heartbreak is a Mother but the producers persuaded the singer to change it so as not to crush the sales of the album. What Pink could not refrain from was the explicit language, so her album was given the sticker. After the release, the singer began to prepare for the tour in support of the album and once again presented a spectacular and colorful concert tour. In 2009, Carey Hart announced that he and Pink were dating again. Fortunately, they were still not divorced, and in 2010, it became known that they finally reunited. Already in the fall, the reporters suspected the singer of being pregnant, and they were right. The first child of the star couple was born on June 2, 2011. The girl was named Willow Sage. Incidentally, she got her unusual name after Pink's favorite tree. Willow symbolizes flexibility and strength at the same time. The pictures of the newborn baby were sold by her parents to one of the glossy magazines, and all the money they received was given to the Ronald McDonald Foundation, which supports children who have to undergo lengthy treatment away from home. Pink herself has repeatedly admitted that she wants many children, which provoked close attention of the press to her belly and loose-fitting outfits. The artist's professional life was also full of events. She managed to make a spectacular appearance at the Grammy ceremony and released the song Raise Your Glass to celebrate the 10th anniversary of her career. Pink dedicated the song to her fans, and they, in turn, elevated the work of their favorite to the first line of the Billboard chart. In 2012, Pink announced that she had started work on her next album. This time, the record is very melodic and witty. It is filled with tenderness and love, which is reflected in its title, The Truth About Love. The release took place in September, and the video for the song Just Give Me a Reason once again featured the singer's husband.
Just give me a reason, just a little bit's enough.
The album was very successful. It was nominated for a Grammy and also became the best-selling album in the world. The tour in support of it was recognized as the highest grossing in 2013, and Pink herself was recognized as Woman of the Year by the reputable Billboard magazine. In 2014, the singer decided to make an unexpected move and united with Dallas Green, the lead singer of the folk country project City and Color, in the creative duet called You Plus Me. Soon their joint album, Rose Ave, was released, which was a success in the countries of North America. At the same time, the video for Pink's song Just Like Fire was released, in which the singer's husband again took part.
Just like fire, burning up the way, if I can light the world up for just one day.
The song became the soundtrack to the famous movie Alice Through the Looking Glass. The single was received very warmly, and it sold more than 2 million copies worldwide. By 2016, Pink again took a short creative break to breathe a little, to enjoy family happiness and motherhood, and just at that time, the couple had a son, Jamison Moon. Meanwhile, after a short break, the singer went straight back to work. Pink wrote the song Recovering for Celine Dion, which became a kind of emotional support after the death of her husband.
I am a recovering.
Our hero's 7th studio album, Beautiful Trauma, was released in the fall of 2017, and it was a solid commercial success, critically acclaimed, and subsequently nominated for a Grammy in the Best Vocal Pop Album category. What About Us also received a nomination for Best Solo Pop Performance. What stood out was the eccentric and hilarious music video for the album's title song, in which Pink and Channing Tatum play a married couple jiving or switching clothes.
'Cause I've been on the run so long they can't find me. You're waking up to remember I'm pretty.
Shortly before the album's release, the artist received an honorary MTV Michael Jackson Award. It is awarded for outstanding contributions to pop culture. Pink is especially famous for her live performances. She amazes audiences by flying over the hall and doing acrobatic stunts. She once staged an amazing performance right on the wall of a 34-story building in downtown Los Angeles. The star devoted the whole next year to concerts all over the world. The next album was already released in 2019 and was called Hurts to Be Human.
Walk me home in the dead of night.
It turned out to be calmer and more optimistic than Pink's previous creations, and the audience generally liked it. In 2020, Pink donated $500,000 to hospitals and medical foundations. She often demonstrates her civil and social stance. The singer is a member of many organizations dealing with human rights issues all over the world. Since Pink is very popular in Australia, for many years she has been the official face of the Royal Society for the Protection of Animals. She once wrote an angry letter to Britain's Prince William expressing her displeasure with his love of fox hunting. The late Queen Elizabeth also had trouble with the singer. The claims touched on the guardsmen, who wear voluminous bear hats. In Pink's opinion, Beyoncé did not stray far from the royal family too, because she likes to flaunt in capes made of precious furs. Pink defended her point of view in the nude by participating in the "I'd rather go naked than wear fur" campaign. It's not hard to guess that the pop diva is a staunch vegetarian. Pink is also a big fan of tattoos. The singer has about 20 of them on her body, including the names of her dogs who left this world. She was very attached to her pets and took the loss hard, which manifested itself in the form of commemorative tattoos. The actress did not pass over the war in Ukraine either, expressing support for its inhabitants and calling on all who can to help through donations to UNICEF. Now the singer's fortune is estimated at $200 million, making her one of the richest singers in the world. Her income comes not only from her music activities, but also from advertising. She was one of the guest stars in a large-scale campaign of Pepsi, and in 2012, she became the face of the cosmetics giant CoverGirl. Among other things, Pink is a successful winemaker. In 2013, she and her husband bought a ranch and vineyards in Santa Barbara with over 100 hectares and a value of $12 million. The couple moved there and started making several varieties of wine under the common name Two Wolves. At the time of purchase, the estate was already well kept with many grape varieties planted there, including Cabernet Sauvignon, Grenache Noir, Blanc, and others. Business has gone very well. The drinks are in demand and are selling heavily in the US at an average price of $16 a bottle. The couple, for their part, enjoy the outdoors and are happy to be raising children in nature. In fact, the singer's "Cover Me in Sunshine" music video was filmed right at the family ranch, and the song features the vocals of Little Willow. Watching the video, you can literally plunge into the family's country life full of peace and simple coziness. They also owned another villa, this time in Malibu, a favorite spot of celebrities. In 2010, the house cost them nearly $12 million. The couple sold it for the same price 6 years later, even though they wanted to get $2 million more. In June of 2021, Pink and her husband again bought a house in Malibu with an amazing ocean view for $13.7 million, but sold it just after a few months of ownership for nearly $15 million. In addition, in 2017, the singer announced that she was going to move to Australia, where she is very popular. It was reported online that she had bought an oceanfront house in Victoria. At the very beginning of her career, Pink bought a small mansion in California for $2 million. It was the first house of her own where she lived for several years. Such an extraordinary woman must have a car fleet to match. The extreme enthusiast and wife of the professional motorcycle racer has Triumph Bonneville T100 and Harley-Davidson Sportster XL Iron 883N motorcycles. The pop diva also has a comfortable BMW X5 in her garage, and some sources write about a rare 1959 Chevrolet Impala and a practical Range Rover Vogue. In February 2023, the singer's 9th studio album, Trustfall, was released. Its main motifs were themes of self-acceptance, spirituality, loss, and love. Musically, the album is a dance-pop record that incorporates elements of such genres as country, folk, and pop rock. Some of the tracks contain war drums playing as well as guitar and piano solos. The lead single was the upbeat track Never Gonna Not Dance Again. Pink is one of the few contemporary singers whose work does not lose its freshness with time. Her songs and videos are full of energy, meaning they motivate us to become better and not to lose heart. She says about herself, "Where I am, boredom has no chance." She has millions of fans, a decent fortune, and vast musical prospects. What's your favorite song of hers?
So, that's what I got.
If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything interesting.